We already knew Carfilzomib, which is an irreversible proteasome inhibitor sold as Kyprolis. We already knew that this was an important drug because it's already been approved in the United States for treatment of patients who have failed all other therapies. What we wanted to understand is if we moved it earlier into first relapse or second or third relapse and added it to the standard of care there, the reference treatment of lenalidomide and dexamethasone, whether we could improve outcomes.
And you had a number of different arms, didn't you?
There were two arms in the trial, this reference treatment, which is lenalidomide and dexamethasone, and with the experimental arm in the trial, we the same drugs with the addition of Carfilzomib.
What did you find?
This was a very positive study result. There were 4 take-home messages. First, patients, the primary endpoint of the study was met. Progression-free survival was dramatically longer for the 3-drug cocktail, 26 versus 17 months, an increase of 8.7 months. Secondly, overall response rate was higher. Third, 3 times as many patients went into complete remission as with the control. The side effect profile was very good. And finally, patients felt better on the study, with a better quality of life.
Now, what about toxicity with this additional agent?
Yes, it was very encouraging. The toxicity, the side effect profile was surprisingly good, considering that patients were on treatment for a lot longer on the 3-drug cocktail than they were on the reference treatment of Revlimid. They were 88 weeks of treatment versus 50 weeks with the control. So even although patients were on treatment much longer, the same number of patients discontinued treatment due to side effects, and there was no increase in deaths due to adverse events on the study.
Now, you had a progression-free survival of 26 plus, over 26 months, compared to 17 and a bit months with the non-Carfilzomib arm. How much of a significant improvement do you think that is clinically?
Well, a 9-month improvement in relapse is very impressive. I mean, in other important trials in myeloma recently, if we have achieved a 3-month improvement, people thought that was clinically useful. So now we have a 9-month improvement in this study, which we think is quite dramatic.
Do you think doctors should change practice then as a result of this finding?
I think that this is now the standard of care for patients at first relapse with multiple myeloma. It needs to be made available to patients and doctors worldwide, and this 3-drug cocktail of KRD, Kyprolis, Revlimid and dexamethasone is a new standard.
So what are your clinical recommendations to doctors at this point?
So these drugs are not approved in the frontline setting, so patients will continue to receive backbone drugs such as bortezomib, lenalidomide, thalidomide in the newly diagnosed setting. But at first relapse, when the first relapse occurs, I think moving quickly to Carfilzomib, either in combination with lenalidomide as here or with other drugs, is the right step.
And so could you summarize what you think are the bottom line messages coming out of this then, very briefly? Yeah,
the 3 bullets that we need to, sorry, that's the wrong term. The 3 important things to know about this study is 1, response rate is higher. 2, people stay in remission longer. And 3, they feel better while they're on treatment with better quality of life.
And this is all achieved because this is a new blockbuster drug, are you saying?
This Carfilzomib is an excellent drug for myeloma. It needs to be made broadly available worldwide. It is a safer and improved proteasome inhibitor.
And are there any downsides to this in your view?
Well, there are some downsides in that it's an intravenously delivered drug. The patients have to come to the clinic twice a week on the current dosing schedule. So there's a convenience factor, but overall I think the overwhelming benefit of being on the drug makes this something that should be available.